Well, good afternoon, morning, or evening, everyone, as it may correspond. It is great to see so many of you here in person, which is already a huge change compared to last year, as we all know. It is also a huge pleasure for us to see so many people online participating in this hybrid initiative, and seeing at the same time so many people from different corners of the world. Thank you all. Let us start by welcoming our new dean, Professor Tracogna, who will deliver a few welcome words to our community. Thank you.
Welcome back at MIB. We are so happy to see you here. And I'm so happy to bring to you my best regards, not only my regards, but also the regards of the chairman, the CEO, and all the MIB staff. This is the first open event we are having in this conference hall in 2021. So it's been quite a long time. We are, not back to normal as it seems we are today. And it's just, right, I think, that this event is an alumni association event. The feeling after so many months of lockdown is that this is a sort of a new beginning. I think it's a new beginning for the association with this new board. It's also for us a new beginning, not just for some changes in the positions within the school, but because of the changes we had at the governance level. The new chairman, Mr. Cristiano Boren, the group CFO for Assicurazioni Generali, a new board of directors, and Mr. D'Agostino is one of the key representatives of our new board. And we are also about to establish new governance bodies, for example, an academic advisory board, which is composed also of national and international, key personalities. And last but not least, a new corporate steering committee. We will tell you more about this in the coming weeks when we will formally appoint these boards. So again, for us, it's a sort of a new beginning, and we are starting reflecting, and I think this is very much related to why you are here, on this new normal. What is this new normal about? What kind of economy we will face in the future, and what will be the role for business schools? Well, indeed, this is exactly what we are going to discuss next September in this room again, because we are hosting, not just remotely, but in presence, a very important conference, 23rd and 24th of September, of the MIB Association, the Central and East European Business Schools in Trieste, at MIB, in this Ferdinandeo Palace. Well, but let's focus on this event. Of course, for us, hosting an alumni association or reunion is very important. You know that for a business school, your standing is as strong as the cohesion and the nature, the features, and the strength of its alumni association. So we are, strong because you are there. We are here with us, and we can, this is our expectation. We can work together in order to exchange ideas, projects. We are looking forward to collect new, fresh ideas from the board, but also from yourself directly. Of course, we want to contribute to your activities. We are, backing all your projects, and if we can be of some help, we are here. Just ask. But of course, the reunion is not just for the school; it's for you, and you have now for this afternoon, but also tomorrow, for these 2 days, the chance to consolidate your network of relations. And also to sort of blend this very varied mix of nationalities, places where you work, and backgrounds and whatever, and this is the challenge you have these days, again, to consolidate this web of relations. And this is my wish. Before leaving the floor again to Gonzalo, that you can enjoy these 2 days, that these 2 days can be very fruitful for you. And, of course, looking forward for the next opportunities to meet you again here or wherever. So best wishes, and thank you for being here.
Thank you very much, Professor. And well, let's start the meeting. Have here starting video. Okay. Over the past few months, not so few actually, we have all gone through a lot of changes. That is why we have decided to call this year's reunion the Colors of Change, in order to share some positive experiences of how change can shape us and our communities for the better. We will embark together on a journey that will include improving the lives of those in need, being the first one to achieve a given goal, fostering organizational changes in unprecedented times, exploring and cultivating our capability to adapt, and exploring how changing can impact on our everyday work life and on others for the better. In the end, and in the meantime, we are always changing. That's what makes us human. That's what keeps us alive. We are convinced that the MIB Alumni Association is all about people. We are all about people. That is why, as governing council, all of us serving for our first term, want to share with you our main goals, which we will then go into more detail in the assembly. Giving back to the community, engaging people globally, and fostering diversity. This reunion, as one, serves as an example. We are an international, multicultural, diverse, and gender-balanced group in which nearly all the MIB programs are represented. We couldn't be any prouder of the heritage we have received, and we are working hard to continue building based on the awesome work done by the former boards. Dorina, Alessandra, Franco, Ezio, and Professor Piloto. Thank you all and all the former boards for the great job you have done in the past. We want to thank our MIB ambassadors and MIB club members for their enthusiasm and commitment to making our network grow more capillary and stronger. Thanks to the school for their continued support. Thanks to our 5 guest speakers for being part of this and wanting to share their story with us. Thanks to our whole MIB community. Change has many shades and colors, ladies and gentlemen. Let's start exploring them together. Thank you. Well, now from Shanghai, Lisa Chen, who is another member of the board, will introduce our first speaker. Let me tell you all that, well, in case there are any questions for the people who are online, please submit them in the Zoom chat. And if there is any question for those here, we will make them once each speaker finishes their speech. Lisa.
Hi, everyone.
Hi, Lisa.
Can you hear me well?
Yes, we hear you well.
Okay. Hi, dear MIBers. This is Lisa from Shanghai, and I'm very happy to introduce you Mr. Lü Xiangming. He is one of the 2.9 million leaders who were assigned by the original institution to help the villages getting out from the poverty in China. He is a principal staff member in CCPIT International Relations Department. At the same time, is the first secretary of the village. When I heard he devoted more than 2 years to living the village, hands to hands help the people there to change their life, I'm very attached. So this is also the reason how today we are honored to have him with us to share his experience to our MIB alumni. Mr. Lu, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you, Lisa. And because you are sharing your screen, please allow me to change. Please just cancel your sharing so I can continue with my PPT, okay?
Okay, I think MIB ICT have to allow Mr. Lu.
Yes, you should be able to share, Mr. Lu, please.
In my Zoom, it shows that the other attenders are sharing, and now I cannot share my screen. Okay, maybe this time. Okay.
Okay.
Hello, everyone. I'm Lü Xiangming, first secretary of Hongwei Village, and I'm also the staff of CCPIT. CCPIT is the organization, also one department of the State Council of China, and is short for China Council for the Promotion of International Trade, just like ICE in Italy. And because the theme of our conference is the colors of change, and I would like to share a little corner of the world, the village that I am working at. And today, my theme is devote all my life to the people. Let's get started. In Italy, we say chi vuole può. Now, I would like to introduce my career, and I have studied the language of Italian for 4 years in China, and I became an official of CCPIT and from 2016 to 2019, I used to be the representative officer of CCPIT in Italy, and this career gave me an unforgettable experience. And let me say, I'm always be ready to go anywhere and always prepared to devote all my life to the people. Let me tell you a story. In 2019, our chairman, Mr. Xi Jinping, have an official visit in Italy. And during his visit in Italy, he meets the leaders of Italy, and he has stressed that in such a big country, the responsibility is very heavy. I'm willing to be selfless in a selfless state and devote all my life to the people of China. A weight fighter can only lift 50 kilogram barbell at the beginning, but after training, he or she can lift 250 kilogram. I believe that through my efforts and the efforts of more than 1.3 billion people in China, I can shoulder this heavy burden and build the country well. I have this confidence. The Chinese people have confidence. Yeah, and this is the picture that the President, Mr. Xi Jinping, meet our President of the Camera dei Deputati, Mr. Figo, and the next one, he also met Mr. Conte and have one conference. He said that China and Italy have the same development goals, a strong economic complementary and bright prospects for cooperation. China is willing to work together to comprehensively expand and deepen bilateral relations. One Belt, One Road. China and Italy will uphold the principles of consultation, co-construction, and sharing, follow the principles of openness and transparency, and achieve win-win cooperation. And I used to be an official of the delegation that it gives me the experience that I will not forget in my life. At that time, maybe I'm just like a bodyguard, live together with our president and follow them to different places in Rome. And after I came back in China, I applied to be the first secretary of a poor village. fight the poverty, and it is called the poverty alleviation. And here is my story. As a provider, I contributed an over new office building for the village, just like a base. Especially the poor villages, they can get rid of difficulties, enhance their ability to solve problems, and also stimulate their potential. Some activities are held here in this building. We call it the service center. And I also define myself like a supporter. You can see 5 pictures here. They are all the very poor people in my village. Some of them cannot earn even lower than 500 euro per year, but with our help, we give each family 20 or 30 little gooses for free, and after feeding these animals, they can sell them and to help them to earn money. Especially the picture on the right, and the personnel of the picture is Mrs. Mao, and you can see the smiles showing on her face, and you cannot imagine that she had cancer, and income for one poor family 1 year includes rent of the fields, subsistence allowances, and feeding gooses. And I'm also an initiator. I created a smart garden project, signing contract with guaranteed price, and to make sure that their plants can be sold at a very good price. And we have also constructed a rural workshop. This workshop, in this workshop, there are kinds of machines that can deal with different plants, and the plants can we can make varieties of products in this workshop, so the prices will be higher. And we have constructed also the road to wealth. It has 1.435 kilometers and is a high standard road. It solves the problem that when the farmers collects their plants, it is difficult for them to transport all these products out of the field. But with this road, all the works is simpler. And we have also constructed a factory farm. The factory farm of gooses. Each year we feed 30,000 gooses, and by feeding these gooses and selling them, we can create also incomes, not for personal demands, but for the public administration and for the community. And infrastructure, we have also constructed the piazza, and yeah, in China, women would like to dance at the piazza with the warm songs, and by doing these kinds of activities, they can be more, they can be happier. Also, we have started the wave production project, and all the women's when after doing the farming works, when they were free, they can do handicrafts, products. And you can see this professor, Paolo, he's an Italian, and we have invited him in our village to help us design the future of the environment. And we gave the very poor new houses because in the past times they don't have the houses with strong structures. Sometimes it is very dangerous for them. And with our activities of the poverty alleviation, they have their new houses. And I'm also the administrator of the village. I visit the villagers every day and talk to them in order to know their difficulties and to know what can I do for them. I'm also the leader of the party members because the party in China, I think, is our central, and as the party first secretary, I think it is an efficient way to organize all the members together. We learn not only the principles, but also we share our opinions together, and we see the world better. And we have built a livable village, just like just I've mentioned Professor Paolo, that gives us a brand new village, and the environment in our village has changed better. Here are the newses of our village, and here are all the very poor of our village. You can see their smiles. I think their smile is the power that is the power that it pushed me forward to work better. I thank them so much, and this career benefits me a lot. My career will continue for my career continues for 2 years, and now it has just passed 1.5 year. It rests only half a year. Maybe after 1 or 2 years, I will come back in Italy, and also continue my career in Italy. But for me, no matter where I work, I think to devote myself to the people, that is my wish. Thank you, everyone. My sharing is finished. Thank you all.
Thank you very much, Mr. Lu, and also Lisa for the introduction.
Thank you. If you have any questions now, can raise your question to Mr. Lu.
Okay, Theo, do you have any question? Maybe did you receive?
Hi everyone, I didn't receive any questions.
Okay, we will see if by the end of the reunion some question pops in for Mr. Lu. We can't wait to meet you here in Italy, as you have mentioned, Mr. Lu. Thank you very much.
Thank you. See you in Italy. Thank you. Ciao.
Well, now let's move on to our next speaker, who has recently been elected in the General Council of Confindustria, and that will be presented by one of our vice presidents, Irma.
Yeah. Hello, everyone. My name is Irma Tunal. I'm from Mexico. Nice to meet you. Today, I would like to present Emanuela. She's a graduated in economics from the Catholic University of Milan. She began her professional career at Henkel Italiana as project manager. Since 2012, she has been a president and CEO of Electrolux Appliance. Her passion and effort makes her a perfect speaker for this day. So welcome to Emanuela. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. And maybe I have the same difficulties as the former speaker. I cannot share my screen. It seems that there are participants already sharing. So let's try again. Can you see the screen?
Not yet. Manuela, 1 second. Should be. She's sharing.
Let me try once again. Okay, it seems now should be visible.
Yes, now it is, Manuela. Thank you.
Okay, so my name is Manuela, and my personal life, in few words, I'm married, I have 1 son, and I started my professional journey in 1984. So I'm pretty old, pretty experienced, let's say. Since 2012, I'm in Electrolux. I'm covering the role of managing director and chairman of major appliances. And since the beginning of this year, I got this additional assignment, which is the chairman position of Electrolux Italy, that is the holding of Electrolux in Italy. To give you a few information about Electrolux, who we are, these are the numbers that describes us in terms of size. You see the net sales are expressed in SEK, but just to give you a dimension, it's about 12 billion euro around the world. We are present in more than 150 markets, and we sell 60 million products, and we are employing 55,000 employees around the world. Our mission is very consistent with the Swedish culture. The ambition is to shape living for the better, meaning that we want to technologically reinvent taste, care, and well-being experience, making life more sustainable. Electrolux is a 100-year company, and what makes special Electrolux to Italy is the fact that Electrolux has decided to concentrate in Italy really a large portion of the supply chain footprint. You see here, we have quite a significant presence on the territory in terms of factories, in terms of offices, in terms of employees. And what is not written on this chart is the fact that we are basically concentrating and focusing the research and development activity in Italy, also for the global business, not only for the European one. So there is a large investment in research and development. But back to my experience, these are the milestones of my career. I put some numbers. I went through 4 different professional experiences in large corporates. And basically before Electrolux, I had significant experiences in other 3 large companies. I started with Henkel, which is considered one of the marketing for fast-moving goods schools. And I must say that this was the part of my career that I always say was the most enjoyable one, because in the 80s, to be a marketeer in a big multinational group was still an experience where you could enjoy a lot of freedom, a lot of independence from the headquarters. I don't want to say that it's not nice to be dependent on the headquarters, but you can imagine when you are young and you want to express your creativity or you're willing to create the difference, make successful activities and have the freedom to and the accountability, of course, to propose and to exploit some of your ideas without having too many filters is really something amazing. And this was my experience. I started as product manager of Perlana. For the Italian who knows the brand, it was a very successful case history of marketing. Then I had the role of Dixon, which is basically the largest part of the company at that time in Italy. So Very nice, very enjoyable, very interesting experience where I could develop myself in terms of capability really to work in a managerial way in a context of freedom and with some principles that were really the foundation of my development, professional development also for the future. Then I moved to Motta. Motta is an Italian brand that at that time was very, very well known, multinational company, but with a lot of problems, not only with marketing, but also industrial problem. And when I joined Motta, actually I had let's say, I was enthusiastic by the brands, and this is part of my, let's say, reference in my profession. I always choose for the brand, and I was very enthusiastic, but at that time I underevaluated completely the complexity of working for a company that is facing a deep crisis in terms of economics and financial. Motta at that time was part of the group of industrial companies that the government decided to manage and to work for privatization, more or less like it is happening now for Monte dei Paschi. I mean, a big company losing a lot of money, and the government was interested to protect the occupation and to prepare the transition to privatization. So the job was extremely tough. From an intellectual marketing, I moved immediately to a dimension where marketing was one of the elements, and the objective was really to bring the company to a better position in order to be sold to a private company interested to the brands. And in my role as marketing director, I was very much confronted with very short-term orientation in terms of payout of any investments, because every time on the table there was the decision of investing, but how much this could bring in terms of values and in terms of protecting the occupation. So every decision was really a decision that was involving a lot of implication on the profit and loss, but not only on the profit and loss. This was actually my first experience of turnaround. I was not in the lead of the turnaround, but I was one of the elements to lead the turnaround that was successfully completed in 1996. And then the company was taken over by the Benetton Group that afterward decided to move to other owners that decided to merge Motta within their business, like Nestlé. Part of the business went to Nestlé, part was sold to Warner Lambert, that is an American company. In 1997, I joined Philips, and I have to say here it was a major step for me, because I was invited to enter in Philips in order to establish a new sector within Philips. And Philips, maybe, I hope everybody knows the brand, but let's say it's a multinational company that faced many transformations during the last 20 years. Philips was present in many sectors. In the consumer area, it was present in consumer electronics, small appliances, and a small portion of lighting business. I was invited to set up a new team to launch a battery business, a very technological solution that was supposed to be the best battery in the market. And I was selected because of my background in consumer marketing, while in Philips, of course, the culture is very, very technological. So I have been invited to set up this new organization, but Philips was changing quite often, let's say, directions, because it was very short-term oriented in terms of profitability results. And when a business was not delivering results in 3-4 quarters, very often the decision was reconsidered. And this was the case, by the way. So I stayed in Philips, but with different roles. And I was very happy to be involved in this process of identification of top talents. So Philips decided to take very seriously the decision to develop and to inject new talents in the organization. And one of the tools that Philips was using was basically the assessment center that was managed centrally in Amsterdam. Basically, I went through an assessment center, 5 days assessment center, and I was identified as a top talent with some of my colleagues internationally. Why I'm focusing on that? Because this process was really an accelerator of my career, because I was invited to take a business school training, the ESSEC 1. And during the ESSEC business school, I got pregnant, and I was at home in maternity leave, and I got a call from an HR director in Amsterdam asking me to be part of a selection for a vacant position of general manager in Italy. The position was very, very sexy because it was about the small appliances. Small appliances means shavers, means products that were extremely successful. So based on this invitation, I went through the regular process of selection, and I was identified as the best candidate and nominated the general manager immediately, despite the fact that I was in maternity leave. I'm telling the story because it gives trust to the women that, of course, you can really have the possibility to access to a very important position, even if you do not compromise on your personal life. And here in Philips, I experienced the second turnaround, because Philips in 2000 started a big journey of restructuring, recombining a business, putting together business that were not profitable with business, very profitable, but requiring a strong transformation in terms of business model. And this was the case because I was put in the lead of the new sector that was nominated the consumer lifestyle, putting together the TV business, the consumer electronics business, together with small appliances, of which I was still the general manager. The idea was to solve the big problem of the TV business that, in any case, at that time was suffering of the tough competition with Koreans, and basically not diluting only the loss of this business, but finding a different way of stay in the business, but with a different approach in terms of value creation. And I have to say that it was really a very constructive experience, because it was touching many dimensions that teach me a lot about how to really put together business with different backgrounds, different situation and status, and make them work together by creating synergies, creating stronger teams, creating a stronger approach. In this chart you see, but of course, not only turnarounds and transformation projects, but also work-life balance was always very, very high in my priorities. The last transformation project I went through is the one I experienced in Electrolux when I joined in 2012. Electrolux was facing one of the most severe crises, which were related to the big economic crisis of 2012. But let's say it was a journey that was supported by the central headquarters in a very close way, because Italy is very important for Electrolux. And I can only say that after 3 big transformation projects, one was related to the go-to-market model. The second one was related to the brand architecture, because Electrolux up till 2015 was still present in the market with too many brands, and one was the very historical one, the Rex brand, that was the Zanussi, the former Zanussi brand. So having successfully completed the go-to-market model that was changed, the organizational setup and the brand architecture in 2018, I got the Global Leadership Award from Electrolux, which is a recognition to, let's say, a very successful leader in the company. And in my case, it was because of having successfully completed this transformation project, which are my, let's say, pillars in my personal and professional, in my personal and professional experience. I must say that to me, really, it's important to give extremely value to the culture of accepting the challenges and building on teamship. Challenges most of the time have to do with structural rigidity that are limiting the potential success. And you see the picture that it's also on the back in my office. This is my manifesto, and really it has to do with the right mindset, promoting open change mindset, One of the most frequent sentences I hear when I start a journey of revisiting the business element to be successful is always, we always did in this way, and we try, and it doesn't work. So these are the sentences I always fight against. In my view, if you have a strong rationale and if you have the right team, it pays off if you try consistently to challenge this rigidity when they prevent the business to be successful. It's important to have the capability to develop stronger teams and organization. So in my philosophy, it's important to inject the right talents in order to have the right people to support these business transformation activities or the journey of developing a new business. So to choose the right people and successfully develop the critical competence, it's really an enabler for the success. And then in my view, it's also one of the elements that is very consistent in my experience is that you have to try to develop a culture of no compromise on quality and timing. So there is a way to say in Italian, presto bene, fast and well done. Sometimes it seems like that you want to make things not in a very precise and qualitative way, but it's not true. Very often when you do things, when you develop activities timely, you have always the capability to keep them at the, let's say, to have at the same time a high level of quality. So my last slide, it's about my values. My values very often are also the values of the companies where I work. For sure, one of the value that it's very, very relevant is the respect of the people, which doesn't mean that you have to accept to have not the right or qualified people for the job, but respecting and finding the way to exploit their potential in other positions. Competitiveness, courage, commitment, and passion. These are my values. And I think that these were the key enablers of my journey. I cannot say only success. There were also some insuccess, but let's say these were my pillars. Thank you a lot for listening the story. I hope it was not too much in detail, but let's say it's difficult in 15 minutes to express everything in a very concrete and effective way. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Manuela, for sharing your experience, points of views, and your values with us. Now let's see with Luca if we have any question from the audience for her.
Yes, Gonzalo. I just received one question that fits very well because as a board, you know that we are very committed to fostering women empowerment. So the story of Manuela was really inspiring, in my opinion, about this topic. And the question is, what do you think about female leadership and how do you see its future evolution? Manuela.
Yes, I have to say that female leadership has to do with a different leadership style that has to be somehow also accepted. I mean, my experience is an experience of a woman in a man environment. And my main tool to convince was to deliver results, and this is very important. But at the same time, to make a good use of my capability as a woman to have maybe some more sense that could help me to identify where I could be more effective and where not. That means, you know, it's a story about the multitasking of women, but it helps in many cases because you can at the same time act on different tables and you prevent maybe to be too much focused on only on something, and this can help to deliver results more successfully, or to take more risk at the same time, and at the same time to identify the right direction. So in my view, what's the future, the perspective, it has to do with the capability to make some bets. My experience, as I told you, I was in maternity leave. Normally, I think there are not so many companies deciding to appoint a woman in maternity leave, general manager of a sector. So this happened because there were some very rational criteria. So I was assessed as a top talent, and I think the company was very serious about that. If you were identified as a top talent, no matter where you are in that moment in your career or in your life, at least they decided to be consistent, and they choose me as one of the candidates. And then, of course, you have to convince. But let's say the future has to do with the capability of the companies to create the condition really to make women exploit their capabilities and potential. And these are conditions that have to be created. I really believe in that, and is what I'm doing in my team. Every time I try to make everybody very consistent with this approach. If a person is good, we have to invest, even if maybe it's not in the ideal moment of the life, but we have really to give a try. And women need many times this kind of approach.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Manuela.
Thank you.
Well, moving on to our next speaker. She's part of the MIB family from EMBA 20. And she will be introduced by Gabriela Carminati.
Good afternoon, all. I'm Gabriela. I'm from Brazil, and I'm going to present to you today another one of our amazing speakers. And it's amazing because she's present here, Elena Silvani. She graduated in the 20th edition of the Executive MBA. Elena is the head of the sales governance for Alleanza Assicurazioni. Her versatile management skills and target orientation enable her to care for 14,000 strong salespeople. Starting her career in the business strategic consultancy, she has then gained 16 years of experience in the insurance sector, focusing on cost process optimization and corporate reorganization. She's inspired daily by her husband and their 3 children. Thank you, Elena, for joining us today. Please, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Thank you for inviting me. It's quite an emotion to be here on this side of the desk. And well, Emba 20 forever. Having said so, well, I can present you this business case, which is based on Alleanza Assicurazioni, so Alleanza Insurance, which is part of the Generali Group, one, of course, of the biggest insurance group in Europe for sure. So our insurance business focuses on investment, pensions, protections, and savings. And our target is based on Italian families. Italian families means that it is fundamental to understand our model, because then you will understand the impact of the pandemic on this model. This is our model. It's quite simple, hierarchical. Okay. The point is that pyramid is our sales force, which means 1,200 people filling up that pyramid. 12,000 people working for us. So selling to families. How does it work? This model is quite simple. We got people there, so especially first, second, and third layer. Then you got team coordinators and managers, which mean agents and so on. So the first 3 layers from the bottom to the top, which is of course the main part of the 12,000, they enter the house of our clients, which means we go to our clients. We do have, some location, we do have some agencies, but our model is based on our salespeople entering the home of our clients. Why do I say home? Why don't I say house? Because we take coffee with them. We know everything about them. We enter, they have to tell us everything about their family, so that our consultancy is a very good consultancy, because as much as I know about my client, the better will be my consultancy about how to invest your money. Talking about families, we are talking about pensions of entire families. We're talking about investments about your children. Okay, we're talking about their lives. That's why we enter the home. Then, because we are, as you see there, we are everywhere in Italy. I mean, everywhere. Okay, from Sicily to Aosta to Friuli, wherever. We are everywhere, which means that our training sessions were on the field. You cannot have, one session with 12,000 people. So it was on the field. The sales was on the field. And then the pandemic. So you see here, you can read mission and vision. The purpose to actively protect and enhance people's lives, which is exactly what we do. And the mission is be the first choice, delivering relevant and accessible insurance solutions to family. So what happened with pandemic? We were forbidden to enter our client's home, which means we could not sell, which means, where's my salary? That was the point. We were forbidden to do our job, in other words. Then what happened? It happened that we made a very strong decision. We decided that our strategy, the digitalization, the evolution of the sales force, the enforcement of the sales force, should have not be stopped because of the pandemic. We had a strategic plan in 2019-2021, which the most difficult thing I said so far. Okay, so 2019-2021 strategic plan. We still wanted to take it in place. We still wanted to realize it despite the pandemic. But we could not sell. So that was a big question mark. So then we decided to accelerate the implementation of all the strategic plan, moving from our model on the field in person to a remote model. And I tell you, that happened basically in 3 weeks. In 3 weeks, because we had a plan. We knew exactly where we wanted to be at the end of 2021. So we decided to take the plan and, made it in 3 weeks, most of it, of course, okay, not all of it, most of it. First of all, the first hardest decision, stop selling, which means not even try to sell, because our sales force could still call people on the phone, could still have consultancy on the phone, but they couldn't sell. And sometimes in Italy it happens that when you say you cannot do something, well, people still keep doing it. Like the government, that told us, don't leave your homes, don't leave your place. Well, yes, but COVID, it's not such a big problem. No, especially, you remember, in March and April. To realize that, we just told our sales force, oh, I didn't say that. Our sales force is, in part, they are employees, in part, they are self-employed. So it's a complex model. Anyhow, we asked our employees not to work. So they were all on holidays for 3 weeks. Since our agents are employees, then also the self-employed, of course, had the chance, to take a pause. Let's make it this way. So actually what happened? Stop selling, close your tablets, these ones, exactly these ones, close your tablets, full stop, you don't sell, and then don't worry, we'll try and make it happen. We'll try and make the business running, despite the fact that our model is absolutely in danger. Then that's exactly what we've done, what you see on the slide. So in those weeks, which means 18, 19 hours per day, Saturdays and Sundays included, of course. So in these 3 weeks, we reviewed all processes, all systems to allow remote selling, which means, of course, OTP signatures, which means mails with customers, which means all that bureaucratic things that are compulsory to make the selling, valid. So we reviewed them all, processes, systems. We redefined our working model, which means you cannot go to our client's home. You have to review your daily planning, your weekly planning, so that you can organize calls and video calls with your customers. We, of course, rebuilt from scratch our training program, which was based on the field and such topics that were in a week became old. So we rebuilt the training program, which had to include all the new processes and systems, because you think and design a process, you think and design a system, it has to work, and then you had to teach it. Again, sorry. I'm Italian, in Italy we do that. Yeah. Once you decide what the new process is, once you decide what the new system is, then you have to teach it to the 12,000 people over there. So new training program, new way to train people, of course, from distance. Then, of course, you have to revise the commission system, because they didn't sell the same amount of policies they could have sold without pandemic. And we do care about our sales force. We don't want them to leave us because they don't have a salary, a sufficient payment at the end of the month. So we had to review that and incentivize them to use new systems and processes, especially the self-employed. Of course, we postponed the launch of products, of new products, because they had enough to learn. No need to launch new products. In any case, families and clients were not ready to listen to us about that. So we consolidated that. Well, actually, we reviewed the methodology to select, onboard, assess, and interview new potential young consultants. So the first layer, first and second layer of the pyramid. And we kept hiring. We kept hiring. We hired last year 250 people, so new employees. Of course, assessing them again on a distance. So in 3 weeks, we designed and realized all this. I mean, I know it sounds like not very true, but it is, because I was there. I was one of the ones who, you know, didn't sleep for different days. Okay, so it is true. It is also true that, of course, all this stuff was not perfect. This is not what we were looking for. We were looking for something that allowed our sales force to sell. So that was our aim. That was the aim was to accelerate the plan so that they were all digitalized, processes were digitalized. We were ready to sell in any circumstance. So that was the target, and we actually matched the target. Just on a separate note, it also happened that lots of our, thinking about what the colleague told us, I know a few seconds ago, lots of moms found this new way of working quite effective, because that has given them the opportunity to organize better their family. So, you know, that means that most of our moms, I mean, 2 or 3 children, that sort of, you know, challenge, they actually increased their sales by 20, 30, 50. We got, you know, top seller, 100%. Which means that you can see that you can do this job, you can take challenges even if you are a mom. Just on a separate note. Then this is just a, you know, simple scheme to represent actually what happened. This is not mine. This is Lipin Noster model of managing complex change. It's quite fun because that's exactly what we did. I didn't know we were doing this. Okay, I realized that we did this after. In those 3 weeks, I didn't have time, you know, to study models. We just were working on that. But now I tell you that this model is good, it's true, and we applied them. We had a vision. Well, vision is simple. Our why was to survive. So that was clear. The vision was clear to everybody. Okay, so we need to survive the pandemic, the sales force, the sales, the revenue. So the vision was clear. So no confusion on that. Which means that's the way you read it. If you don't have any of these elements, then what you risk. If you don't have a vision, if you don't have the reason why, then you can create confusion in your organization. In this case, it was quite easy. Okay. Again, agreement is another element which is very important. Otherwise, you can risk sabotage. But the consensus, again, in our case, was quite natural. Everybody, I mean, management, senior management, middle managers, the sales force, we all agreed that we could not stop and wait for the pandemic to finish. So nobody had in mind to sabotage anything, okay? Just wait and hope that everything would have been okay at the end of those 3 weeks. Then again, skills, either skills or anxiety. Well, if your team feels as if skills or training are lacking, this may lead to anxiety. Alleanza teams were made of people from different business units. all highly skilled. And then we skilled, I told you, through remote training, the sales force. So everybody knew what he or her had to do, okay? Incentives, another element you can see there, either incentives or resistance. The incentives can be monetary, of course, okay, that's a good incentive, but it's not the more powerful. The most powerful incentive is the intangible one, which touch you on your stomach. And in this case was exactly the incentive that each of us was feeling in his stomach. So personal achievement and prestige, that was the real move to do such a big change in such a few days. Either resources or frustration. If you feel like you don't have time enough, if you feel like you don't have tablets enough, if you feel like you don't have training enough, then you can feel frustrated. But as I told you, none of these elements were missing. Perché I said perché. Because I was listening to me. I said perché? Because everybody knew exactly what was the resources was using. I'm sorry, just
Take
laughing.
your time, Elena.
No problem. This is normal for me. So, that's the way I am. So resources, either I would say either resources of frustration, lack of resources bring to frustration. And so the emotional resources were linked to our commitment to succeed. Last but not least, of course, either planning or fatigue. I mean, if you don't know exactly where you have to go to, how to reach the target, in what's your timeline? No, you feel like a bit lost. Well, in our case, it was quite easy. Since we had 3 weeks, that was a timeline. So every business unit prepared a business plan. Every business plan had a timing. Each of them were, were building up the master plan for Alleanza Salesforce to start running again. So it was clear for each of us exactly where our dot was, okay, where we were in the timeline and where we were going, where the other business units were going. So we had a very clear business plan that we daily checked. And of course, lots of meetings to check whether everything was okay. So that was exactly what happened for us to accelerate and change. I'll leave you with this because we're talking about colors of change. Alleanza has chosen a few years ago a color, which is the orange. My belt is orange. That's why my belt is orange today. This is our color. That's the meaning of the orange. So I again thank you for inviting me here, and I hope you got a bit of orange with you everywhere you go.
Let's see if we have any question for her. Theo, who's our Secretary General, she's in Luxembourg. Have any question for her?
Hi, good morning, everyone. And really, thank you very much, Elena, for your energy, your great presentation. Really, I am part also of the Generali group, so I found also internet. No, jokes apart, really, thank you very much. And it comes to one very interesting question, I think, in my opinion, and it says, how do you think this experience will impact on the future and so on the change of the company, especially when it comes to the company culture?
Adesso me lo dovete ridire, no. Cos'era? Say it again.
Yes, I will also text it here. The question, yeah. How do you think that this experience will impact? So will have an impact on the future and so on the change of the company and when it comes to the company culture?
The future. Well, that's quite easy because we accelerated that much that we are realizing now part of the next 3-year strategic plan. So that means that our future now will be based on change the model again, because of course we have to move a little bit back to physical, but keeping the remote. So now in the future, which means the next couple of months, of course, we will rebuild the model again. So 3 times in a year. I'm very proud to be the representative of the organization of the sales force. So in 3 times a year, this time we'll need to build a model, including both remote and distance, remote and on field. On the other side, the future means for us now launch new products because we had to suspend it. So we are moving actually towards a sales force which knows exactly how to move in different ways, in field and remote. Now we need to give them, food for selling. So we're going to launch new protection products, and that will be more than enough for the next year. That's it, because then we will have other, of course, ideas in mind, which I cannot tell you now because it's the next strategic plan. In any case, the future is for the next month, year, I would say new products, training on new products, and come back to normality, which is not obvious. It's not like, okay, go and act as you acted before the pandemic. It doesn't work that way. Now we had to retrain people to do things in the third different way, which is the hybrid one. Well, the culture actually is, we discover, we found out, if you want, how much resilience our sales force has got. So we found ourselves resilient. We didn't know before that. We hoped we were, but now we know we are. So in terms of culture, I think that nothing will change apart from main, how can you say, consapevolezza? Grazie. More awareness of the strength of the sales force, more awareness of the resilience, but our culture is exactly as it was before the pandemic. I mean, we don't fear a pandemic for changing our culture. We are quite energetic. So that's it.
Thank you very much, Elena.
Do we have any questions from those here? Over there, Franco? Some of them, like, example, 1% more, 9% also. Why go back? It's pretty different. I focus the remote and the standard forms.
So I mean, how you manage the, because I don't say it. Ragazzi, it's very hot, in here. So I'm really, I got a crisis of, you mean Okay. You know what? No. Okay. You see, if I understand what you say, because I don't hear. If I understand what we're asking, it's quite easy. First of all, I didn't say everybody, you know, double income. You know, I said moms who were able to organize better at the time, they managed even to double their income. Okay, so that's a DNI parenthesis, let me say. It is true that some of our sales force did have a very big increase. It is also true that some of them actually stopped selling. Okay, so some of them, they didn't know how to do it. Okay, when I say we are 12,000, that means that you got people 22, old people 23, 30, 60, 65, 70, which is a bit, you know, harder to train on all these new OTP signature calls, video calls, Zoom, Teams, etc., etc. It's not the same. So you got two-speed Salesforce during the remote. Now what will happen is that you go to an hybrid model, which means that you actually will choose the best way you feel with your clients. So moms, I expect, will keep a high dose of remote. Maybe senior says will come back to our client's home. I mean, that's the good news, you know, for new normal, because you got opportunities for everybody. If this was your question. Otherwise, you know, we had a chat and then you can do your question again. Io non sento niente.
Gonzalo, we cannot hear you. I don't know if you are saying something there, but I don't think that the audience that is remotely connected can hear you. Just for you to know.
The question was whether this new model at the end of the day increase or decrease or are the sales overall.
Okay.
The sales force. So that the pyramid. We lost quite a lot of senior, not thousands, but quite a lot of seniors. We incentivated quite a lot of seniors as well. Because what we want is actually to reinforce the first layer. We need, our clients are 35, 40 year old on average. So it is fine. I mean, if you cannot make it, if you are self-employed, you just, you know, leave the pyramid, okay, leave the sales force. If you are an employee, we incentivated them, they accepted them, they could not make it. I mean, it's okay, just another word. So actually we've lost 500 people, not more than that, as a total, which means we lost a lot of people. First layer we lost a lot of people at the top, but we recruited much more than that from the very first layer, you know, the biggest part of the pyramid. So you renewed actually your sales force.
So well, thank you. Thank you very much.
Can I take my jacket off? Thank you. Fai finta che io non ci sia.
Okay. Well, so now our next speaker will be introduced by Alessia, who is the treasurer of our association. Vayale.
Oh, wow. It seems yesterday I was here for my graduation day. So I'm but 20 forever. And I'm here with the same emotion of my graduation day because I'm in another role. And I'm very proud to introduce you the next speech. Personally, I follow this person from several years. One of his books is one of my favorite books. So, ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce you Sebastiano Zanolli. Sebastiano is in the management team of Diesel. He's also, as I said, a book author and a motivational speaker. He gained significant experience in sales and marketing, holding position of responsibility in companies such as Adidas and, as I said, Diesel. At the same time, he explored issues related to professional and personal performance and to development of human potential. So thank you, Sebastiano, and the stage is yours. Sebastiano, you are in mute.
Sorry. Sorry.
Okay, great.
This is one of the biggest common phrase, you are on mute, or can you hear me? So hi to everybody. Thank you very much. I'm so honored and so happy to be here with you. Actually, I will have to share a presentation with you, and let's see if I'm capable of it. Maybe you have to free the screen. Let's see. Yeah, okay. Let's see. Allora, just 1 second. Here. 1 second. Let me find out the right one, just to be sure. Yeah, that I'm not sharing something else. And here we are. Okay, I guess that you can see it. So I was, okay, great. I was listening carefully to the previous speakers, and I must say that I'm very sympathetic with all of them. And when it comes to Elena, I'm sharing with her.
Sebastiano, sorry, you're on mute again. I don't know what happened.
It's written.
There you go.
Okay, organizer, mute you. Okay, great. I'm very sympathetic with all the people that came before me, especially above all with Elena when she was talking about the big changes in the sales force. Actually, what you have asked me, what Alessia told me, asked me to talk about is, let's say, one of my biggest passion. And I'm 57 years old, and for almost all my life, I took care of marketing and sales issues. As Alessia explained, I'm coming specifically from the field of textiles and apparel and the fashion industry, let's say. But it's not what I'm going to talk to you right now, because at the same time with my professional, like my reasonable, understandable professional career, I took care to go deeper in some, let's say, motivational issues. I was very curious about how I can push myself in obtaining something better when I was a salesman. And then, of course, when I had my sales force to manage, I was wondering how to get the best out of them, maintaining mine and their humanity. And so this is why I'm at the moment here with you, more than for my, let's say, reasonable, understandable professional activity, is more for what I'm exploring, and I took note of the words that I heard at the beginning, like the colors changes the theme. So exploring, pushing, keeps alive. It's all about the people. And so this is exactly what I'm going to talk to you. And I'm going to talk to you about the change. And like I was saying, when it comes to change, like Elena was explaining through a very useful model, is that it's so difficult for people to accept the change. And sometimes you have to ask to yourself, is it meaningful? Is it useful to change? So due to the short time that we have, I would like to say, to admit that in this case we take for granted that change is good, but of course we all of us knows that it is not always like that. But let's say that change is good and we have to face a kind of positive and constructive change. So I will talk to you about one main concept, that is the concept of irrelevance, and then some tips. I would like to make a disclaimer at the beginning. I'm not a guru, I'm not a priest, I'm not someone that has the truth in his pocket. So what I can do is just to tell you what is my perspective and what I gain working with several companies, apart from the one in which I spent 25 years, in the group in which I spent 25 years. But what I understood so far. So let's go in detail. So the first slide is what change is, what does the future mean, what is coming for us? Well, what can we expect from the future? And this is a very tough question. Is a very complicated question, because we all know that there is a double acceleration right now, and this double acceleration is due to technological changes and cultural changes. When cultural changes and technological changes are together, we have a double acceleration in change. And what is disturbing us is not only change, but is the speed of change, is how quick the change is coming. We can accept almost all changes if we have the time. But let's say that we give for granted that we will be able to accept the speed of change. But change is peculiar because has another characteristics. It breaks the balance, and when the changes are coming, whatever changes we are talking, but now we have, our world is full of change. I'm looking at me, at you as a manager, as people that want to make a big difference in the market, in the company, with our colleagues, with our bosses. For sure, we are facing changes. Well, what Elena said is a perfect example of what is changing. And as we heard, some of the people are no more suitable for the change. So how can we face the change? Because changes is something that is solves some problems for some people, and of course it gives to other people's headache. And it's funny because this slide was made before I heard the presentation of Helena, but it matches perfectly. I mean, it's good for someone, it's not good for someone else. And at this point, I would like to introduce the concept that I wanted to share with you. That is concept of irrelevance. I'm quite sure that almost of you heard about that, not as a noun, not as a word of common sense, but has Yuval Harari, this Israeli how to say, professor, is mentioning in his books. And he's saying, well, when it comes to a big change, when it comes to a big change, you could easily move from relevance to irrelevance. And what does it mean exactly? He's bringing this nice example that I love. He's saying, when at the end of the 18th centuries, there is a big change, a big technological change. So from horses, we move to the power of engines. And of course, all the vehicles cannot or must not be moved by horses anymore, but by an engine. Oh, well, this is a big technological change. But what is going to happen? Well, let's say if we say that we are men driving a coach before, so driving horses, let's say, When the horses are no more important, you can say, well, I can maintain my relevance in the market. No more driving a coach, but driving a car. So all I have to do is to get a license, a driving license, is to learn to drive a car, and the trick is made. I mean, I can maintain my relevance from a technological step to another one. So 1 year ago, I was driving a coach with horses. Now I get my license, my driving license. I can drive a car, and this is fantastic. And Yuval Harari Noah is so funny when they say, yeah, and this is absolutely true. If you have well done your reasoning, if you are reasoning extremely well, because if maybe if you make a mistake and you are not looking at the real situation, and in the previous step you were the horse, in the next technological step, you have no more a job. You are not relevant anymore. So this is the point. When a technological change, a big change is coming in our society, you can maintain your relevance or you can lose easily your relevance. And in this case, if you are the driver, yeah, you can maintaining with some efforts, with some differences, with some efforts, you can maintain your relevance. But if you are a horse, you simply are not contemplated in the next evolution of the market. And this is such a powerful concept that, look, this is what Yuval Harari Noah is saying. Many people might share the fate not of the 19th century wagon drivers who switched to driving taxis, but of the 19th century horses who were increasingly pushed out of the job market altogether. And I consider this a very intelligent view. And now I have a small trick, a small game for all of us, because they made it to me, and I behave probably like you will behave. But let's see. So participate to this small role playing. You know what is a barcode? I guess that all of you knows what is a barcode. A barcode is a way to create an inventory very easily. You just need to codify all the products that you have in a warehouse, and then all you need is a scanner, okay? And through this, let's say that the barcode born around in the 50s in the United States to facilitate the work of the large retailers. But let's say that the barcode has a very it has a difference as a technological invention. So when it comes to barcode, if you scan a barcode, you will see what the product is. But let's say that your scanner is out of order. You can still have a chance. You know that under the barcode, you can see all these small numbers. And all these small numbers can be typed in the register, and you still find out what the product is about. Now, let's see that you are the cashier and your scanner is broken. Your scanner is broken, and you still have, in front of this technological evolution of the barcode, you still have a possibility to remain relevant in the market. So there is a technological evolution that is barcode, a cultural and technological evolution. This should put you as a cashier, put you out of the market, and you could lose your relevance. And if you lose your relevance, you lose your possibility to gain profit. And if you lose the possibility to gain profit, you lose the possibility to improve your material assets, and so the possibility to take care of yourself from a material point of view and to take care of your beloved one from a material point of view. Okay, but still with the barcode, you have the possibility to remain relevant in case you have not a scanner, in case the machine is not okay, because you can read the number. So what I want to underline with this is that sometimes technological changes or changes are still offering a friendly exit way to remain relevant in the market. it's useless to say that our aim as managers is to remain as relevant as we can, of course, because if we are not relevant, we are simply out of the market. Now, let's move to a second technological change, and this is the one. QR code is the evolution of the barcode. I'm sure that all of you knows what is QR code is. And now, let's say that our boss is entering in this room and say, hey guys, you are all fired unless you tell me what is written in this QR code. Full stop, period. Okay, so it's better to squeeze our brain and to find out a solution. As you can see, the QR code is not friendly at all. It's not like a barcode. There are no numbers, no figures that we can type somewhere and find out what is a product. If I'm asking you, what is it? What is written on this QR code? Is someone can tell me what is written here?
It's written, scan me.
Yeah, exactly, correct. And this is absolutely fair. But, you know, a QR code is giving you information. What kind of information can you read on that? Okay, just to be just to be nice, I tell you, this is not originating from me. I mean, I was submitted to this from a professor, and I behave exactly like you. But this is so important and exemplifying how difficult it is to find the right way to remain relevant in front of the changes. Is someone able to tell me what is meaning this QR code? I cannot hear you, but I heard something, but someone can help in telling me what did they say?
Here in the audience, some suggest it might be MIB.ed.
Oh, bravi. Very good. Very good. Probably someone, unfortunately, this is the limit of the online meeting, but someone, as usually is happening, at a certain point, squeezing his brain, say, hey, I have the technology that allows me to understand. I have a mobile phone in my pocket. So you grab your mobile phone, you mirror the QR code, and you find out that is leading you to the MIB site. Okay, let's say that there is our boss there, and he say, hey guys, I'm sorry because just 1 or 2 out of 10 or 20 out of 100 was able to understand. So you are all fired except these 2 persons. Okay, what happened right now is that we became quickly irrelevant in this situation, and someone was able to put together the method, the technology he has or she had in her pocket with the problem, with a new problem. So there is an innovation, there is a technological switch, there is a change. This is the real change, and only someone is able to find out a solution. Like Elena was explaining, not all of them. In their case, the majority. But in this case, the minority. And if this would have been a real case, well, a lot of us would have been thrown out of the market. But how did these people that solve the problem did get there? I mean, this is quite interesting, because if you go on TED.com, you will find a TED speech from Barry Schwartz. It's a very interesting TED speech. And Barry Schwartz is saying, what did you get there? It's not the technology in itself, it's not a tool. I mean, everybody has a tool like a mobile phone he needs on their pocket, everybody. But only few brought out of the pocket and were able to put together. Yeah, for sure, creativity, openness, whatever. But Barry Schwartz is a psychologist. Is saying what bring these people there is the technology of idea, not technology in itself, but technology of idea. And he's explaining this, how to say, in this way. He's bringing an example, and I will bring you to you so it's easier to understand. He say, let's say that you are a poor man or a poor girl, a poor lady, absolutely poor. And your technology of ideas, the ideas that you have in your mind, are saying that you are poor because God wants you to be poor. So the effect of this technology of the ideas in your mind will bring you to live a life of acceptance and praying that God will change ideas. But if you are poor and you change ideas, or someone is making your ideas changing, and you say, no, 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 I'm poor because I didn't understand how the market is working. So how will you be your life? Your life will be a life trying to understand the trick of the market. You will find a mentor, you will find books, you will try to understand, you will test and fail and test and try again until you will become rich eventually. But let's say that you're still this poor person, you're changing mind and you're changing ideas, your technology of ideas is changing once again, and you're thinking that you are poor, not because these first two hypotheses, but because someone on top, powerful, is torturing you, is keeping you in poverty, is harassing you. So is using kind of violence, psychological or social violence, and you are poor because of him or her. So you will move and you will pass your life trying to make a revolution and to revolt against the system. Now, what Barry Schwartz is underlining is that in this case, you are poor and your life, and you're living three different lives. You are always poor, but you can live three different lives according to what is in your mind. Means that this technology of the idea is what is forging your life. And in this case, the one of the QR code, what happened is the same. It's the technology of ideas that brought to solve the problem. The ideas that you can put together stuff, that you can use technology in a different way, that you can use the tool that you have in a different way. And to me, this is really important because once that I shared with you, because I'm sharing with you the same fears and the same obsession for the future, you know, even if I'm older than many of you, when I phoned to the organization for the pension, my Italian friends knows the INPS, because I was curious to say, hey, how why will I go to pension? When I will receive my pension? I say, hey, but do you really want to know? Because it will be not very soon. So I find out that I have to be careful about my future and having a good technology of the ideas in my head. And so I wanted just to share with you some suggestion. I put together some suggestion. Let's say I say some ideas for changing, some ideas that I think is better to have in mind to face the change, and in order to escape to irrelevance. So if you are interested in live in the market for the next year, I would say, I'm just suggesting to take care deeply of your relevance or irrelevance. And in order to maintain your relevance, you have to be really ready to change, but not just a way of saying, really ready to change. And to be ready to change is not easy, like we have seen. It's tough, it's a lot of sufferance. And so maybe some of the ideas that I put together for you here and after can help, hopefully. So the first, the title is just the complaining challenge and ideas for changing. The first idea, the first suggestion is stop grumbling for 1 week. So I think that this is a good starting point. We spend a lot of time grumbling about the fact that things are not exactly like we want. The world is not exactly like we would like it to be. And from a Stoic point of view, is absolutely a waste of time. I mean, if you can change, great. If you cannot change, you cannot change. And so you have to move on the active side. So this is just a general comment. So grumbling for 1 week, and then moving to a real suggestion. I put together this kind of suggestion. Do not believe fairy tales. Do not blindly trust experts, me included. So do not believe to me. Do not believe to expert. I think that the first, the first suggestion, the concrete, serious suggestion to face the big changes is not to believe to the narrative that is the narrative of the market. change is always good, failure is always good, try until you succeed, don't think just one thing, focus on one thing. I mean, all this narrative that I know very well, because this is a subject that I really love. So I'm studying it since almost 30 years now. And we have to be very good in sharing and cleaning things and clearing things. We all live in a market that is desperately trying to sell something. The easy way to sell something, especially when it comes to change, is to say that the tool that I'm suggesting you is the definitive tool, is the one that will solve all your problem. And probably this is absolutely a fairy tale. And so I would suggest not to trust expert, me included, and to accept the fact that change is tough. Change is tougher, and you have to find your own solution and your own algorithm to find out. And then as an attitude, the second suggestion is to use a kind of GPS style in order to dynamically change route. You know, when you are driving with a GPS, the GPS is not tied to a specific route. It's always recalculating minute after minute according to the situation. And this is absolutely much more suitable to face changes that the definitive map and once that I've decided, and I will not change mind anymore, and so on. Again, this suggestion is bringing to suggestion number one. Generally, when someone is coming to you to say that you don't have to change mind, that only the real man, the real man always stay on one line, one route, that is probably because they want to sell you something. So use a GPS style, and I think that as a metaphor is very useful. I mean, keep calculating and recalculating. Yeah, of course, someone could say, yeah, but it's a lot. It's exhausting. I mean, yeah, it is exhausting. Absolutely, it is exhausting. On the other side, we are living in 2021. I mean, speed and velocity are the characteristic of this world. So you have to recalculate over and over again. Third point that I'm suggesting in order to face changes in a proper way. Obstacle is the way. Again, you will recognize here kind of stoic ethos, and obstacle exists to separate those who get results from those who do not have the heart and the strength to face them. I think that we have to accept, like Karl Popper was saying, that life is solving problems. You don't have any other way to live. I mean, this is a way to live, accepting that the problems are exactly the only things that we are here to face. And you know, someone is asking me, yeah, so you would say that I will not find serenity. And well, my point of view is that the serenity that a manager can, not only a manager, but someone can find, professionally speaking, is not the serenity from not having problem, but it's the serenity that descends from the fact that you are competent and skilled to face and solve problem. It's a very different point of view from not to have problem in order to be serene, and to be capable, to be adapted, to be skilled to face and solve the problem. There are two different kinds of serenity. And of course, my sympathy is all for the second type. Fourth, responsibility. You are the managing director, the marketing manager, and the spiritual father of yourself. If you say no to these roles, you are saying no to your professional existence. And if you're looking at managing director, marketing manager, spiritual father of yourself, I'm not putting these roles together just for fun. When I'm talking about managing director, I'm talking about the capacity of producing results. When I'm talking about the marketing manager, I'm talking about the capacity of build your personal brand. And when I'm talking about the spiritual father of yourself, I'm talking about the fact to maintain your humanity in all these. Because, you know, all these three activities are making a full-time manager type of person. And you know, there were periods in the modern history where it was sufficient was enough to be just one to cover just one of these roles to have a complete life. But this is not the case anymore. If you are a great professional and you're not able to promote yourself, or you're not able to maintain your humanity, you will fail, especially today when humanity is part of the marketing offer that you have to give to the market, because nobody wants to have a manager that is just capable of producing results, because now it's important also how you produce the results. But then if you're not able to promote yourself, you won't be able to be capable and to produce results, because you will lack the trust of the people. So as you can see, there are at least 3 different sectors of your life that you have to keep in balance. And this is for me and for you, responsibility. A suggestion that is coming from Andy Grove, the CEO of Intel, founder and CEO of Intel, and well, actually was a very discussable person, but nevertheless, I found that it was absolutely true. Right when, like 10 years ago, he was talking about, hey guys, only paranoid survives in this society. And now I'm coming back to market. As the market is competition, we cannot avoid to face this aspect. And as I think that Manuela talked about then, about this point in one of the last point of our slide, when she was saying that presto e bene, so quick and well done. And again, I'm very sympathetic with this point of view. I mean, to create a culture of dissatisfaction when performance are not good is so important, because in every moment a competitors can overcome you from every point of view. And so to see more enemies and dangers than the one that maybe really are there is good, because it's maintaining you in a state of alert that, due to the speed of the market, is very necessary. I know that, and I understand that this is not, for example, this is another aspect that is not bringing serenity to your life. But if you want to be serene in the sense of the Zen monk, you have to go to a Zen monastery. And if you want to be a manager, you have to take care then. Around you, there are competitors, and the competitors are not interested in your well-being or in the well-being of your company. So, you in a sense, the proposal and the suggestion that I put together are kind of sometimes opposite situation. And what I'm suggesting is to keep a dynamic balance between all these forces. And I'm sure that this can be this can be difficult, but it leads you to a very long life from a managerial point of view. There is a nice exercise that I find out in some medical studies that is this one of traveling time. And well, it's quite easy. I don't want to bore you with some medical explanation, but the fact that to be able to have a meeting with your future self and asking to your future self what he wants or she wants you to do now in order to be like the one that you desire seems to be a very good exercise. And this is probably due to the fact that when you allow your future self to suggest you how to behave now, your future self, by definition, is interested in having you in good shape, intellectual good shape, physical good shapes, material good shapes. And so it's giving you suggestions that are aiming at the medium long term instead of the short term. On the short terms, many of us are interested in not spending too much energy on projects because it's exhausting, it's really difficult. And so sometimes you sacrifice the medium long-term results in favor of a more easy approach now. Now, your future self, if you let him or let her to speak, is very sincere and will ask you always to prefer the sacrifice now for a bigger results later than the opposite. And so this is exactly why, for example, all of you were able to have a master, for example, that cost a lot of sacrifice at the beginning, but is giving you results on the medium long term. So many others have renounced to this. Okay, this travel in time, this meeting between you and your future self is an exercise that is really nice and has just one condition, that you allows to your future self to have a kind of decision-making power. It's not just a counselor, has to be someone that can decide. They say, hey, you have to study now, you have to exercise now, you have to go deeper in certain subjects now, you have to sacrifice now for a better and brighter future. Okay, and this was the last this last slide. Guys, I don't know if I add something to your wonderful day. I really hope so. Well, you can find me. I just put one address here, the one of Instagram, but you can find me almost everywhere on LinkedIn, and I will be more than happy to give you my view on whatever you want anytime, and I wish you all the best for the future. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Stefano. Let's see. Sebastiano, scusa. Scusa. Sebastiano. Let's check with Luca, maybe if we received any question.
Yes, I've received some questions, and I also have some of my own, because Sebastiano's speech was really thrilling, and it was very inspiring. It was a further inspiring speech from Sebastiano. So just a couple of questions for you. Sometimes change and ideas of change might somehow scare us. So how can we not be afraid by our ideas? And do we have to follow them all, even the most creative or strange? What's your opinion about this?
Luca, very nice question and very big question. Let's divide into some years ago, like 10 years ago, 9 years ago, because I was in the same position. I mean, I wrote my books from 2.5 other years, because I didn't have the time. I have to write at night, and one of the book was dedicated to fear. And what I find out, I mean, I'm just a curator, you know, I'm not a genius, so I'm trying to grab good ideas and to find out the best how to the thinker that I consider good. And when it comes to fear, I discover that fear is unavoidable. I mean, you need to have fear. The real point is to let fear go out of control. Like many other human aspects, I don't know, laziness is good till a certain point. Over a certain point is becoming bad. Anger, envy, all these feelings are good to a certain point, and over they are becoming negative. That certain point is the most tricky things because thing of all, because it comes that Luca has a tipping point, a turning point, and Sebastiano has another one, and Teodora has another one, and everybody has his own turning point. And so here we arrive to responsibility. I mean, fear is good. When fear is paralyzing you, is not good anymore. But you have to find out, and I think that you have to find out, like my marketing professor taught me at university, say, hey, Zanoli, make a test. Test is costing very few and is telling you a lot. And so testing. And this is about fear. So I think that is good if you have fear, because this is alerting you and you are much more active and paying attention, and you have to pay attention and you have to collect details and looking at other experience and asking other people, putting together, understanding that fear can be reduced or compressed to a certain limit, because generally fear is connected to the unknown. The more you know, the less the fear you have, and a certain level amount of fear is good. And this is the first point. The second point, Luca, and this is very good for me to for me is really good to answer to this question, because it's something that is all about the last 2 years and about my last book that is approximately about this, about the plan B, about the alternatives. You know, the narrative, the marketing narrative of the self-help books is always saying, hey, whatever you can dream, you can achieve. And this is a big lie, a big trick, and they are showing you, like, look at Arnold Schwarzenegger. He's coming from Austria, an immigrant, and they was a champion of bodybuilding, and then now he's governor of California. And of course, and this is absolutely truth, what is missing is the link, the cause-effect link between him and all the rest of the people that move from Austria and are not governor or California. But on the other side, if you look, you are a manager, I'm a manager, we all know that these kind of false representation of reality are really good to sell something. When you say that everybody can lose weight, okay, everybody can be nice, everybody can be young forever, you are selling. If you're saying, well, generally you are losing weight, but not all, you know, I mean, you cannot sell if you are just relative on this. And so what I'm saying to people, I'm not scared and I'm not amazed by the fact that someone that wants to sell you things is saying that his cure is 100% effective. So I'm not scared that someone that wants to sell a book on self-help is saying, hey, try everything that you want because sooner or later you will succeed. I'm not amazed from these guys. I'm amazed from the people that are believing this. And so my suggestion is wait very well. Now there are the possibility, you have all the information and absorb information, make your, let's say, plan, take your risk. And when I'm saying taking your risk, and I'm closing, you know, risk in the project management are not connected to the possibility, to the percentage of possibility that they will happen, but they are linked to the amount of damage that they will produce if they happen. So it's not a question of percentage. You can face, you can run all the possibilities that you want. You can put yourself in every project if you are capable of facing the risk and the damage that the risk in case will happen. If you are not, it's better to stay out. This is my perspective.
Thank you very much, Sebastiano. And just allow me to make another question, because you talked about the taking time to recalculate, and this was very striking as a figure, you know, as a GPS. Yeah. And so it's right. We have to take time to recalculate, but when? This is my question. So are there any signals that tell us it's time to change? So we're talking about change, no? And this comes to my mind because most changes nowadays are disruptive. And I'm trying to put together another question that came from the audience about, for example, AI, artificial intelligence, and all these big changes that came out very fast. So which are the signals that we have to take into account to adapt to a new situation is coming?
I'll try to be wise in giving this information because, what my opinion on artificial intelligence is that it is a factor and is going to amaze us more and more and more. I don't believe that artificial intelligence, I mean, the job and the jobs cut from artificial intelligence will be substitute from other jobs. And even if this should happen, for sure there will be not a migration from the job you are doing now to this new to new jobs. So there will be different people doing these new jobs. Okay, like I think that there will be less jobs in the future, but if I'm wrong and there will be the same amount of jobs, for sure there will be no cover from the old guys or girls that were covering the jobs before. So there will be a switch somewhere. So someone we will have problems with this artificial intelligence. But this is under the constellation of this type of market and this type of economy. Maybe we are underestimating the fact that in 20 or 30 years, there could be a complete new way of considering the economy of the world. And so finding out completely different way that not the free market, something else that we are not even capable of understanding. So I think that on the long terms, we have no serious forecast, but on the short, yes. But your question concerning, sorry, go back, Luca, to your question.
Yes, about when if there are signals.
Yeah, signals. Okay, yeah. Yes, yeah. And on the short time, this is what the long and the short. But on the short times, I think that also in my experience as a manager, you are understanding that you are getting out of fashion when people are not asking suggestions, when you are not a point of reference anymore, when you are out of the meeting or the serious meeting, when your opinion is always the last to be heard. And this is, I mean, I consider it a sign that your irrelevance is starting. You know, you continue to do the trivial job and you have to respect procedure. But when I'm not interested in your opinion in what is going to happen tomorrow and the day after tomorrow, means that you are good as a cog in the machine, not really as a driver in the machine. And so I consider this a kind of sign that you should keep your eyes and ears open. By the way, if it can be helpful for all the people. I mean, I had the possibility to work with an organization collecting executives that were, like, say, fired from the companies. And it was really interesting in finding that a lot of these guys, girls, that for years, generally...
Sorry, Sebastian, just right after this idea, if we could
kindly
sum up, so we...
Absolutely, sorry. And these guys that were fired from the company were, let's say, amazed from the fact that they were fired. But the same guys were the one that created alternatives and plan B and, you know, a lot of exit strategies for the company in which they were. So was not missing the capacity. They only thought that to them was not possible to happen. So they did it for the company, they did not for them. And so I think that is always like a GPS, like you were saying, like a GPS, you're always looking at the surroundings, and when you find a better street or roadblock, you change the road. Thank you, guys. Sorry for your time.
No problem. Thank you very much, Sebastiano, really.
To you.
Well, now, last but not least, let me introduce Mr. Zeno D'Agostino, who is a manager with expertise in local economy, logistics, and freight transport. He has been the head of the Port Authority of Trieste since February 2015. He's currently vice president of the European Seaports Organizations and sole director of RAM, the in-house company of the Italian Ministry of Infrastructures and Transport, in addition to being member of the board of MIB Trieste School of Management. He was recently included in the 2020 ranking drawn up by Forbes Italy of the top 100 Italian entrepreneurs and top managers. Thank you very much.
Thanks to everybody. I think I changed my speech 10 times during the during the speeches of previous speakers. So, you know, I don't have a speech. I try to go and to do quite a brainstorming about the thoughts that I have during the speech before. The first image that I have, you have to consider that I'm a little bit strange, so don't and also I'm a very lazy person. So it is very important also for what I want to say. And when I was young, okay, so we start. Yeah. I had a very big fear. I always see in the novels and in the movie that there is no democracy in the future. I ask you, no? If you look, there are always kings, emperors. I've never seen the president of something in the future, no? You see galaxy, you see big emperors, big queens, big kings, the king of a galaxy, the king of... and this was a fear for me, no? Because I say, okay, I am a democratic. So what will be the future of democracy? And then I say, okay, it is only novels, it is only fantasy, it is not the reality. The problem is that the time is passing, and I think that the writers and the movie players and so on were right, because we see always less democracy. You see that the role of the state and the role of the nations and the governments is always bigger. And I don't know if you have the same impression that I have, but you know, when you look at the media and you look at 10 years ago, all the people that was on the first page of the newspapers and the magazines and so on were the big people of the Silicon Valley and so on. Now you always see, okay, no more Trump, Biden, Xi Jinping, we have seen before, and all this, Boris Johnson, now Draghi. You know, you see that also the communication is changing, and the players of the evolution of the world, not only for the image but also in concrete, are the public authorities, are the public leaders, and you know, so I say, okay, but if this is the trend, I don't want, you know, my fear is a real fear that in 20 years, 50 years, we will find the emperor of the world or something like it was in the movies and in the novels. Why did I say this? Because today we spoke a lot about market, and we say the market is this and the market is this. If you are a horse, you have no future, because the market say this, because the innovation in the market is this. What we have to consider is that in the last 20 years, I always say, since you know, the tragedy of the Twin Towers, I think, was a very important date. Why it is a very important date? Because, you know, the 10th of September of 2001, you didn't imagine what will happen the day before, the day after, and you didn't imagine that the world has changed, but security became something more important than the competition. You didn't imagine that, for example, the trade wars between, for example, it was USSR and United States in the past. Now it is China and United States. You couldn't imagine the COVID-19. So the real, and what happens when you have these big shocks? You don't go to the market. You don't go to the private companies. You ask, where is the state? Where are the nations? Where are the players? Where are the authorities, the public authorities? Is it good or not? I think it is only a matter of changing of the capitalism. If you go to see the history of the capitalism, you see that there are some era, there are some years, ages, where you see that you have a lot of shocks. And when you have shocks, you see that the market go back, and the state, the nation, the public become more important. I think we are in this kind of era. You know, I am a public manager, that's why I'm saying this. I'm not a private manager. But it is capitalism. We're not speaking about communism or socialism or something like this, no? It is not because we don't want the market. It is, we are in an era with a lot of shocks, and when you have shocks, you need more public authorities in your activities. If you want the market, if you want the market function, you need more public authorities. So, as I said, I'm a lazy person, so I couldn't understand a lot of things that I've seen today. And I'm a public manager, so I have to take care of the horses. And what we have done in the last 5 years, 6 years in Trieste, was to do this. Before coming here, I said there was a football tournament of the dockers, no? And you know, I was with the dockers. There were hundreds of dockers. Some plays football, they have eat and drink, and but you know, this I have to take care of them. And to take care of them, we must create an environment, and we tried, and I think we also in some cases succeed to create this kind of environment in Trieste in the last 6 years. Why? Because we know that the future of the horses is not good. But I'm not private. I'm not a private manager. I'm a public manager. So I have to think about what to do with the horses. I don't want to say, I hope now there is not a docker looking at my speech, no? Thinking that he's a horse and no more a docker, but this is for me, no? I know this is my job, it is different from the others. When we see, and innovation is very important, innovation is very important, but you also have to know which kind of environment you are working in. If it is a private one, and if you are in the public one, now we have great responsibility, more than we had 20 years ago, 15 years ago. Now we have to be small emperor, small kings. We must create the environment where the market can work very well. So, you know, why I say I am a lazy person, because when I think that if you are lazy, okay, you are lazy. But if you're lazy, you always try to find something to create a more productive activity, no? I have in my mind when, you know, I am a great, I always study and read Adam Smith, you know, Wealth of Nations. If you read the Wealth of Nations, you see that Adam Smith speak about the small boy, but who didn't want to work, and so create an innovation in a machine because he didn't want to work. So he created an innovation. So if you're lazy, you are more stimulated in creating more productive activity and so innovation. But there are some kinds of different innovation. What I've seen today, in some cases, a lot of them, you have innovation, but you're only creating new instruments inside what in industrial economy you call techno-economic paradigm. Techno-economic paradigm means that you are inside a specific technological environment. So you can pass from the barcode to the QR code, but you didn't change the paradigm. So when I speak about, or when I think about the port and the port environment, I use a slogan, you know, it is very important. I've seen very beautiful the images that were in some speech before me, because you must communicate with slogan. And my slogan for the last 6 years is, the future of the port is not the port. And you know, when I say the future of the port is not the port, okay, you can imagine the first days that they say this, or the people in the port, they say, okay, this is crazy. And what will be our future if the future of the port is not the port? The future of the port is not the port, you know, I decline this into declination. One is inside the paradigm. What does it mean? It means that a port in the last 10,000 years, it doesn't change. It is always the same thing. I say 10,000, could be 20,000 years. Because a port is a place on the sea where a boat arrives. In the past, it was, I don't know, the Egyptian boats or Phoenician boats or Roman, and you deliver, excuse me, and you charge and uncharge the goods and people and passengers from this boat, you know? So you can put the new cruise ships that you see also in Trieste, or the new container vessels, very, very technological, but the paradigm is always the same. The port is a place on the sea where you charge and charge passengers and goods. You can put, okay, new cranes, new technology, everything, but the paradigm is the same. So when I say the future of the port is not a port, in the actual paradigm, it means that if we want to create the success and the of the business of the port, we must invest a lot of outside of the port, and this is what we have done in these years. So, for example, we as Port Authority now we are the owner of the industrial area of Trieste. I am the president of the industrial area of Trieste. Also, in the CV, there is also this. We invested a lot in the inland terminals, in logistics activities, in the free zone. So if we want to create a more competitive port, we must invest outside of the port. But this is innovation only in the organization. It's not a change of the paradigm. And so, as I said, I'm a little bit strange. And so I said, we want to change the paradigm because, as I said, I'm lazy. I don't like to compete every day, okay? I don't like to wake up every day and say, okay, I have to run faster than the lion and so on, okay? Because I'm lazy, So I don't want to run. I want to use my and the brain of my staff. And I think that if you are lazy, you can use it was beautiful when you have to take all the time to recalculate your future. So if you want to take all the time to recalculate your future, you can do in the best way on a sofa or on a bed. You cannot go to the office 7 o'clock and so no. So I like a lot smart working and so on, because you must be very comfortable. When you have to think, you must be in a comfort situation. For example, my best, I hope, reflection are always in the shower. Yeah, I want to invent how do you say the lavagna, blackboard, a blackboard for shower. I need it because when I am in the shower, I always think a lot because you don't have any other, and so you think. But I need a blackboard because I have to note what I think when I am in the shower. No, I don't know you well, but the bathroom is a very beautiful place where I think. Okay, yes, not only shower, but I close. But the change of the paradigm means that what we are trying to do now in Trieste is that the port is not only a place where we have to load and unload cargoes and passengers from a boat. And so what is the change of the paradigm? Is that the port is a place on the sea. Stop. I am doing as she has done. Now we use a lot of the end. You know what the Germans say, no? If you don't want to let an Italian speak, you must give him 2 luggages, no? Because if you give 2 luggages to an Italian, he cannot speak. No, the Germans say this, but we are Italians. And why do I say that the port is a place on the sea? Because on the sea you can do a lot of things, without thinking of the role of the ships. You don't need a ship, for example. And then I close because I've seen that the time is not so. If you look, there is something that I suggest you. If you go on the web and you look at telegeography, telegeography is the geography of the submarine cables. And if you look at this image to the telegeography and you look at where the submarine cables goes, you see that they do the same, the geography of the cables is the geography of the ships. So what we are trying to do now is to reconsider the port not only as a hub of transport, but also the hub, the technological hub for submarine cables. The submarine cables come from Asia, they pass through the Suez Canal, they pass in the Mediterranean Sea, they go outside of Gibraltar. So they do the same thing as the ships do. And as we convince the ships, not going out from Suez and go to Gibraltar, but come to the Adriatic Sea and come to the port of Trieste, now we are speaking with some of the bigger player in the world of the submarine cables, telling them that they can use the Northern Adriatic and the port of Trieste for as technological hub. And this is the new paradigm, one of the new paradigm that we are approaching. The second one is, you know, a lot of people are speaking about the energy transition. So we want to consider the port as not only as a consumer of energy, but also as a producer of energy. And this is the future of the port, is not the port. So not only that we have to consider that we have to invest in the traditional paradigm and to invest outside of the port, so inland terminal, logistics, warehouses, because I must take care of the horses. And you know, we have a lot of automation in the port, and we will have in the future a lot of automation in the port. So I need to find some other places where to put labor forces. So outside of the port, in the inland terminal, in industry, and so on, but also changing and creating a revolution in the paradigm of the port and saying that the new role of the port is not connected to transport and logistics, but it is connected to technology and energy. So this is my speech.
Mr. Agostino, let's see if we have received some questions. Leo, do you have some?
Hi, good morning, everyone. I didn't get some questions from the audience, and I don't know if maybe Luca suggested one question because
yes,
we were following together the speech of Mr. D'Agostino, and thank you very much, President.
Yes, of course. Just a fast one, since we are a bit short of time, but it was very interesting, your passage about the saving the horses. So what is the role of public sector to save the horses right now? So like training them to do another job, or what if there's no other job? What might be an intervention of invention to shape new businesses or services for the horses to do?
I didn't hear very well, I don't know. But, you know, I don't know. You were speaking about the horses. I hear
yes,
about...
what might be, sorry, I don't know if you can hear me very well, but what might be an intervention of invention? So the public sector, what can invent to shape new businesses or services for the horses?
Okay, first of all, as I said before, the players of logistics are private companies. So we don't create public labor opportunities. We must create as public authority the right environment where the public companies can find the right place where to do a lot of things. For example, there are no port authorities in Italy, it could be some other places in the world, that are investing in creating new logistic areas, new industrial areas, and so on. We don't do logistics, we don't do industry, but we create the real estate opportunities. Why? Because if you look at the evolution of a global player in the world of the supply chains, you see that they are no more dedicated and focused on only one part of the supply chains. When we speak with a lot of big players, they come, they want the port, they want railways, they want intermodality, they want logistics areas, they want industrial manufacturing activities, for example, in the free zone, but we have in Trieste. So you must develop yourself, and I say as a one-stop shop, not for logistics, but for administrative activities. So they come in the office of the Port Authority of the President and say, okay, we need areas, we need industrial zones, we need free zones advantages and so on. And they don't want to have a lot of places where to go. They want only one place where to go. So we only, you know, it is very important to have a lot of brains. No, I always here a lot of my colleagues, president of port authorities, they are always speaking about infrastructure. I say we don't have to speak about infrastructure. We need to speak about not of the hardware of a territory. We need to speak about the hardware of a territory. If you want to have a lot of investment in your territory, you must work in the organization, not in the infrastructure. Infrastructure is something that comes after. And it could be also financed by the private companies. If you have a good place, a good territory where you have a good organization that can speak with the same languages of these people. So we need a lot of people that knows very well what logistics is, what industry is. And so, you know, we need brains. I don't need, you know, when the infrastructure for me is something gray, you know, we are speaking about colors today. Okay, infrastructure are always gray, but I don't need gray this, I need gray, okay, gray matter, what it is in our head. So I always say, but I don't need infrastructure, I need brains. Because if I have brains, we can do all the infrastructure that we want. And the problem is that if when you go to the conference and you speak about port and so on, all people is always speaking about new infrastructure. We need infrastructure. We need infrastructure. What we have done in Trieste in the last 6 years is to get the old infrastructure, in some cases abandoned places. For example, the new free zone was put in a Varzila area outside of the port. We are refurbishing a lot of railways that we have in the port. They were abandoned. So we are doing this, and for doing this, you know, we are more we are more reactive to the market, because you don't need to build something new. So we are more reactive, and we are also more sustainable, because if you use what it is just in the territory, you don't create a big impact, an environmental impact, for example, with the territory. So what we do for the horses is to create the right environment for private companies to come here, and then we see that the horses that don't work in the port, they can work in an industry, in a logistics area, and so on. So this is.
Thank you very much, Mr. D'Agostino. Let's take a quick break for a coffee, and then we close with the assembly. Thank you. Okay, so well, let's start the final part of the Okay, so well, let's start the final part of the afternoon prior to the to going to the dinner. Okay, we will try to be as brief as possible in the assembly. As a whole, we want to introduce ourselves, provided that it is the first time many of us, all of us are part of the board. We will share our mission and values, show how we organize ourselves internally, speak about some ongoing activities that have to do with charity, which reflects our value of giving back. We will also speak about the Women Wonderwall, which was a very nice initiative that got a lot of impact. Finally, we will speak about the MIB ambassadors, to whom we thank a lot their support. And finally, we would like to get some feedback from your side in order to know how to move forward. This is us. This is you, in a way, because we have been elected by you. We are, as I said in the opening speech, a multicultural, diverse group. Almost all the MIB programs are represented, not all, but almost all. We have people from Mexico, Argentina, Brazil, India, China. Most of us are living here in Italy. Half the board is Italian as such. And again, as president, honestly, I couldn't be any prouder of the support I have from the whole board, and well, all the activities that we are thinking about doing, some of which we have already done. We have a lot to do in the future. Our mission and values have to do with people, okay? As a matter of fact, we are all about people. The association is all about people. We want to give back to the community, connect people. All of us embrace diversity in any of its senses. And of course, it is always nice to bring back old memories and create new ones, as we are already doing. We want to enlarge our local network, both locally and worldwide, trying to be present at even more at local levels, empower our MIB clubs, and well, boosting education, also giving support to different charity associations, as you will see forward. There are some more people here with us who have not, in a way, participated yet. Mario, who will help me to go through the presentation. We also have Jessica, Igor, and Ornella, who make the rest of the team, and well, and Manish, who connected in Milan.
Good afternoon to all of the heroes that have resisted also for the second part of this reunion. It's Mario Spinella speaking, and now we are here. I'm here to introduce briefly what we have done during these first 9 months together. And during these first 9 months, the majority of us have never met each other, and brainstorming and performing, putting in practice a lot of things has been pretty impossible. So we have used this time to establish a long-term period and to put alive all of the initiatives that we have brainstormed during these months. First of all, we have decided to segment our work in 4 macro areas. Going briefly, these ones are networking, communication, knowledge, and special programs. Regarding networking, as we perfectly know, networking is not just taking an aperitivo together, but it's something of deeper. As my favorite writer says, associations make people stronger because people with common values can achieve a common result. And it's really important that we make people more aware of the power of this brand, to empower this brand, to make this more appealing. And and now that we are living a return to the normality, we will be starting again with our networking cafes. And moreover, we'd like to do something of more professional, starting to create alliances between the association, the alumni, and the companies, the headhunters, because I mean, there is a great demand from all the alumni regarding that, the possibility to get new possibilities thanks to this network. So this one is one of our goals. Regarding knowledge and special programs, knowledge, I mean, we mean that like a sort of kickback. We'd like to put across to all of the audience, I mean, to the people interested, the know-how that we have gained during these years, during our job experiences. This is just an example. Regarding special programs, we are starting something about diversity inclusion, LGBT programs, and so on. And another point really important is communicating. As I say in my digital agency marketing, if you don't communicate, you don't exist. And what we have started to do during this year is to make the association more visible, because a lot of times, okay, of course, for the Murphy's Law, the screen disappears, but it doesn't matter. Okay. Ciao, Gonzalo. Okay. So we started to be more present in the social networks and in order to engage more the audience. And as you can notice from the statistics on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on Instagram, and other platforms, we have increased the results. But I mean, we are not just beautiful words. And the reason of that, we decided to put in practice to make alive the same idea. I don't know if all of you are aware about that, but part of the fee of the golf tournament will be donated to an association in Trieste called the Casa Internazionale della Donna. As MIB alumni really take care of the women empowerment, of the possibility for all the women to get the same results of the male gender. And the Casa Internazionale delle Donne is a beautiful reality in Trieste, empowering and helping women in difficulties and to put them on the spotlight. So this is the first real result that we wanted to achieve with you, all of you, and to explain that we are not just words, but we are facts.
Yes. Moreover, another initiative that we feel that was very, very welcomed by the community was what we call the Women Wonderwell, in which we counted with almost 160 female participants. We decided to launch it during the Women Month with the goal to first celebrate women's strength and at the same time foster gender equality. We have been able to present and connect women from our community who didn't know each other, connecting both men and women. We think that, again, this can lead to a lot of opportunities in the present and in the future. And again, this sense of togetherness, we think that, again, not only among women, but among the whole community is, let's say, it's of paramount importance. So we really take care how I said before about networking, and I mean. We, as an alumni association, as alumni board, we can't achieve our goals alone, but we need, of course, engagement with our community. In reason of that, we ask you to join actively our association, and surely you can do something really useful for us and for all of us, becoming a MIB ambassador. MIB ambassador means that you represent the city where you live, and you can, for instance, help MIBer arrived in the city. This is new in the town, helping him if it's in difficulty, or for instance, for organizing MIB cafes and aperitifs. That it's been really important. For instance, in my experience in Munich, we have organized a lot of MIB cafes, aperitifs, and there has been the possibility to create new connections that, for instance, I have so far. So I really recommend you to try that, because it's something really meaningful for all of us. And going forward and fastly, another initiative that we'd like to activate in the next days is the Volunteer Day. In a nutshell, it's Let's Give Back to Earth, and we'd like simultaneously in several cities dedicate a day for cleaning an area, for helping the environment that we are nowadays, every day, destroying, and doing something that it's really meaningful and it's a real give back.
Here there are some numbers about our association. As Gonzalo said, we represent practically all the 5 continents, and we are so far there are 17 countries with MIB alumni ambassadors and 45 ambassadors. We can definitely increase this number. We can have more ambassadors for a single city. So this is something that we will strengthen like initiative in the next months when we will be definitely back to the normality. Thank you.
Okay. And here we have arrived at our last slide. Thanks for standing by. And again, we think it's very important that, in the coffee break, we already gathered some feedback. We look forward to getting feedback from everyone. Again, whatever we do is thanks to you and for all of you. That is something we really mean it. So again, should someone have any feedback now who would like to share us any type of proposal or contact us via mail, LinkedIn, whatever, please be sure that we are always open to receiving proposals, feedbacks, ideas in order to make our community grow even larger. So again, if someone has any feedback, we really appreciate it. If not, later, again, you can contact any of us. Dorina.
Excuse me, Gonzalo, could you repeat what Dorina just said? Because from online, we didn't hear anything.
Here, what for those who are online, it was Dorina who was speaking.
Hi, Dorina, by the way.
The former president. She said, I mean, she really appreciates to see how united we are as a group. She has been on, let's say, on the other side this, let's say, recently. And again, basically congratulating us for the job and knowing that it's not easy to carry out such a task. For which is not that recent, but a decade of MIB Alumni Association. Thank you a lot, Dorina, really. I know Franco Leoni being here, let's say he certificates Dorina's pedigree, let's say, and participation. So again, please be sure, know that we are here to help you. We are here to help all of us. And well, should there not be any further question, I thank you in name of the whole. Oh, please, go ahead, Mario.
Just that if you have an idea, if you have something that you want to start with us, please write us to our email address in order to start a cooperation to understand how to make this alive. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So again, thank you, and well, we hope to see most of you today at dinner or tomorrow in the activities. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you all, the ones that have been online. Thank you all.